Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla. And today I am at Edinburgh, actually plugged in at Supercharger, and I am on a multiple day, multiple destination trip. We've done quite a lot of all day road trips where I've shown you just how easy it is to drive an EV, and especially a Tesla, if you're doing that kind of trip. But what if you're away for several days, going to several different places with several different kinds of charging needs? How easy is that? So this trip is multi-day, multi-location, multi-use. I am staying in 3 nights, in 3 hotels, in 3 different places on this trip. So some of those have got charging overnight, some of those haven't. Some of them are near superchargers, some of them aren't. So it's a real variety of a trip. And I thought it might be quite interesting for the people who think, well, how do you cope with an EV or Tesla, especially if you're going on this kind of trip where you're kind of going here, there and everywhere, and range anxiety for some people up here is still a problem. It's the thing they can't quite get their head around as to how does this actually work. Well, for the first part of this trip, I set off from my home in northern Aberdeenshire this morning. It's 3 hours or so drive down to Edinburgh. I stopped here because the car told me to stop here, although I know this site pretty well because I've been here quite a lot. I know there are chargers all the way down the M6 and the M74 now, so yay, they have closed the gap. So I think I'm going as far as T-Bay on the next one, and that then gives me plenty of power to get into Lancashire and down to my first overnight, which is going to be in Rochdale, and some charge to go onwards from there the following day. I have picked a slightly more scenic route as an option for the way down, just to have a look. And at the moment, on 34% of the battery, it is actually bizarrely telling me that I should be plugged in for longer than it would take to charge up to the charge limit. It basically wants me to charge here and only here, and then go all the way down without any further stops. Now, as anybody knows, if you are planning your charging, basically that is a completely crazy, and I do mean crazy, idea. So there are multiple different options now on the way down. So as an example, at Gretna Services there are now 14 stalls. 14. They have massively upgraded that site. It used to be 4, it's now 14, and they're all quick. And then slightly further on from that, in Gretna itself, there's now 16 stalls, right? And then I could go further down the road to T-Bay, where I don't think the communication on this is working properly, because it's telling me that every single stall is going to be available at all times. But you know, there's charging stops all the way down here. I can't for the life of me understand what on earth the car is doing. So that, to start off with, as we get going on this video, is a bit of an oddity. And it really shouldn't be, because the first rule of driving a Tesla long distance is charge where the car tells you to stop. It is usually really good at sending you off in the right direction. But on this one, I don't know. Maybe it's not connecting for whatever reason to all of the different charging stations. So it can't read what the charge network is like and how it's doing. Maybe it's that, because at the moment it wants me to stay here until the battery is basically on 100%, which we're not going to do because that's really, really, really slow. I am not the Mac Master. I'm not going to sit here on purpose for the slowest possible charge to then do clickbaity videos about it. So we are definitely going to be unplugging and heading probably to the new Gretna Caledonia Park one, just because I haven't been there before, but I could carry on as far as T-Bay. Either way, we're going to get some charging while it's still going quickly, and it's on 123 kilowatts now on 43%, which is quick, and we'll give it a minute or two. I have just stopped at Gretna, which is not where I was stopping. I was going straight through to T-Bay. However, the navigation has been telling me about the journey getting longer and longer. And some people attack Tesla navigation and say it's not as good as Waze or whatever else you were using. And all right, it's an opinion. But this was basically screaming at me about what appears to be the apocalypse at Penrith, which is going to make getting much further south quite interesting, because the M6 appears to be blocked or something close to it, looking at the colours that are showing on the map. So yeah, I'm going to have a think about what's my way around it. But basically, I've stopped here at Gretna so I can have a look. It's better to stop and have a look and work out what the plan is before you get there and find yourself stuck, especially as I can sit here and charge while I'm having a think. Right, I've set the GoPro up. As you can see, we're going to divert through the lakes. Bizarrely, that is going to be quicker than trying to cut my way through Penrith, which looks like a war zone, or to go past what is now clearly a lorry fire on the M6. I'm sure they've put it out, but it looks like it's completely melted the road. So there's one lane of traffic just about squeezing past it. I am not going anywhere near that. It looks like it would add an hour onto the journey. So we're going to go the slightly more scenic route instead. As we climb up the Kirkstone Pass, the weather is definitely closing in, but this weather system that we're literally ascending into has been smashing the western side of the UK, especially the northwest of England and western Scotland, over the last 12 hours or so. The wind has been quite blustery and it's been in my face for much of this trip, which is why the energy use has been as high as it has. The fact that I'm climbing up into the rain, I think I've done this on practically every time I've ever been up the Kirkstone Pass. Now, this obviously isn't the most direct route around the M6 thing, but off camera it came up and it said 1 hour delay, 1 hour of delays to try and head down the M6. And from what I could see, it was junction 41, which is just north of Penrith, junction 39, which is south of Penrith, but it was queuing beyond 41. So I actually came off at 42 and cut my way across. Again, the centre of Penrith, as I said, was looking like a war zone. I have no clue how long the diversion route would have taken. Maybe not an hour of delays, but probably half an hour. So this is not direct, but it's an excuse to come up here, because it is heading south and it is heading vaguely towards where I want to go. Obviously, the weather is quite funny up here, so it's. I hope you're enjoying this. It's gone very, very, very murky. Really murky. So the Kirkstone Pass Inn is coming up, which we will go past and then back down the other side. And there are quite a few really, really, really horrible roads around here. When I say horrible, I mean spectacular. The road that's about to fork off on the right, down towards Ambleside, it says The Struggle, and it is literally a road called The Struggle. And if you're coming up it, you can understand why it's The Struggle. especially if you're coming up it in a mechanical car where you're having to worry about gearing and things, because frankly it's horrible. It'd be much easier in an EV. I'll have to try it sometime. Oh god, this is real fun now. Look at this. But climbing hills in an EV, or even descending them, is just, especially on if you've got full one pedal driving, is just about moderating your right foot. You know, it's lift off to go slower, push down to go faster. In essence, it's a lot easier than having to think about gears. The M6 again, and well, would you look at the weather? Top tip: when the weather's awful like this, so wind in your face and standing water, it's very, very bad for efficiency, because of course you have to basically plough your way through both the water in the air, which adds moisture, which adds substance to the air, so you've got more stuff to cut through. But also, of course, if you've got standing water on the road, the tyres have to work much harder to be able to throw that off the road, and that burns more power. Happily for me, I am driving on Michelin Cross Climate 2 all-weather tyres, and that means that I should be imperious in the wet, and from my experience of them, and I've had quite a bit of wet since I put them on in the spring, wow, a motorbike in this, braver the man than me. But yeah, these tyres are imperious in the wet, and I've said this before on my Cross Climate 2 5,000 mile review, but honestly, I love these tyres. They really do the job in a country that gets a bit wet and wild like the UK. So remember, guys and girls, as I'm recording this, it is mid-August, and look at it, we have got a winter-style Atlantic storm coming, smashing its way in, and basically just demolishing everything in its path. So yeah, the Great British Summer, and this year it really has been pants. Anyway, efficiency is not going to be pretty. So if we look at the last 5 miles, let's just go on to autopilot. If we look at the last 5 miles, yeah, 339 watt hours per mile. So just over, just under 3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is absolutely awful. But I can feel the car being buffeted by the wind, yeah? So not only have we got the heavy rain and the standing water in patches, but we've also got the car being pushed around by the wind. None of that is good for efficiency. But never mind, we did an earlier stop than we were expecting because of the diversion at Gretna. And what I'm going to do, because there's no charging at the hotel tonight, what I am going to do is have one more stop at Supercharger to be able to put enough in to be able to do the first part of tomorrow. So 20 minutes or so should do it. And yes, that will be 20 minutes where I am sat where I shouldn't be, but I've got plenty of emails and things that I'll need to do, so that's not a problem. If only this rain would let up. Now on the Supercharger at Birchthurve, this is on the M62 just to the east of Manchester, and it's got to be said, the back half, maybe 2/3 of that journey was awful. The weather was not good. It is not raining here, it's not even windy here, so that's definitely an improvement. But honestly, the only bit of that trip that wasn't stressful towards the back end was the fact that the car knows where it needs to charge, and I basically just let it get on with it, which is always one of the good things about Tesla. So I'm going to stick about another 10 minutes within here. I've been plugged in for about 3 minutes. Like I said, I just need enough to boost me for tomorrow until I get some more on my travels. So I will see you tomorrow. Sorry for interrupting this week's video, but this channel is now sponsored by, well, me, because we have founded Millibricks, which is the new online UK web store for military brick
construction sets, milli bricks, so Lego compatibles but themed on tanks and planes and trucks and all of the things that Lego don't do. If you're a vehicle fan and you're here, then this is a brilliant place to be able to get all of the more interesting and historical sets that you just can't get through Lego. If you go onto our web store and put the code GET, you will get 10% off everything, which is a fantastic deal. Unfortunately, if you are outside of the UK, we're not shipping abroad yet, but we'll be doing soon. So don't forget millibricks.co.uk for all of your military brick sets like all of these. Back to the video.
Good morning from a slightly damp Wigan. Was in Rochdale overnight, didn't need to charge the car up, stuck some in at Bird Services and the supercharger there before I left. No charging at the hotel there overnight, but there is today when I'm in Sheffield a little bit later on. So I've already done one customer meeting this morning and driven through yet another monsoon, and now I've got to go to Knowsley near Liverpool and then over to Sheffield. No problem if you've got a Tesla. A bit further on in the day and I am once again sat in the back of the car doing work, basically because today has been a whole stack of things that I really didn't think that I would need to be doing, which I am doing, so that's no problem. There is plenty of space here in the back of the Tesla Model Y. So I am currently in Salford, so I started the day in Rochdale. I have been to Wigan, I have been to Knowsley, I'm now in Salford, and I'm going to Sheffield. And at no point today do I need to even think about charging. The car had plenty in from yesterday's top up, and all of that sounds like it's quite a way, and it isn't. So don't worry about it. Well, good morning from Sheffield. I am not parked anywhere near my usual parking spot because my hotel is actually just down there behind the immense building site, which is now West Barn in Sheffield. So a bit of a farce actually last night. So the usual car park that I go in across the road from the hotel diagonally is now a big building site. So I thought, well, okay, fine, I'll go into the hotel car park then. And if you've seen my previous videos about that hotel car park, you'll know that it's not exactly fun, but what it does have is EV charging, which is included in the overnight tariff, which is great. So I go into the hotel car park and find that there's a big sign saying out of order, and you think, okay, fine, let's go and have a look at the one downstairs because there's two charging points on two different levels, and that also has a sign saying out of order. Now, what kind of out of orderness affects two different charging setups on two different levels on two different parts of the car park? I'm fairly confident that when they say out of order, what they mean is they've turned it off. And when I asked them about it, they said, actually, yes, there are some safety concerns. No, the safety concern is that you decided you don't want to pay the electricity bill. Let's just be honest about it. So the plan was actually not to charge in Sheffield overnight. I've still got 20% in the battery, and there's a supercharger at Meadowhall or one at Ferrybridge. So I didn't need to charge. I was just greatly entertained by the idea that a safety concern means you can just get away with putting out of order as if it's some kind of fault. It's just nonsense, and they know it. Just arrived at Meadowhall, and this is quite a tight supercharger installation, to be brutally honest. These are a bit squeezed in, but okay, they're at least here because this site was going to be switched on quite a long time ago, and it took them absolutely ages to get on with it, which is, yeah. Anyway, we are here now, and it's also good that there's plenty of available stalls, because none of these are actually marked up for EV only, nor are there any signs, and I have heard that some of these have been iced quite a lot, which is probably not a good thing, but they're 250s, V3 superchargers, and that means that I am getting, turn that off, where are we up to? 173. So we've come in on 17% and it's ramping up. It was preheating, so 177. Yeah, it's probably going to be somewhere around that. Might hit 200. It's ramping quite slowly, this one. Is that it? Yeah, maybe somewhere around there. The other interesting thing on this one is, right, so you've just seen how many cars are here and parked up, but this has only just updated itself, because when I was looking on this, okay, no, it has updated itself now. It was telling me that there was only one stall in use and that it was 9 o'clock at night, which obviously it isn't. But you can see, look, 8 stalls available on arrival, 1 car en route out of the 12, and that it is 34 pence a kilowatt hour, which is blooming cheap, right? It's good. And the point here is, with Tesla, the car directs itself to the supercharger. It warms the battery before you even think about what you need to do, and as you've just seen, you turn up, you pull the thing out of the holster, you plug it in, and it starts charging really quickly. That integration really is the thing that you get with Tesla that you just cannot get on any other car brand, and that is why you should just get a Tesla, because whenever you see Tesla tombstones, and the mega packs that are powering them are over there, yes, those big white things, as soon as you see that, you know it's easy charging time. I'd like to issue an apology for the audio on both of those last 2 clips. So I've just sat here in the car reviewing some of the footage that I've been shooting while I'm sticking some power in the thing. And okay, there is wind noise. There's actually too much wind noise. So what I'm going to have to do is to find myself a Bluetooth microphone that has got a nice fat wind thing on it. So I do have a microphone that's got a wind thing, and it doesn't keep all of the wind out, and it needs a cable adapter for my iPhone, which once again I have left at home. Sorry, I will get it sorted for other videos. The audio isn't good enough. I know that, you know that. Sorry, we'll get better. Hello from York. I have just done another stop. Again, I am working my way around, so for me, this is the usage that I need for the car. Other people's journeys may be a bit different. Anyway, on the drive up from Sheffield, which is 60 miles, we have done a quite astonishing 218 watt hours per mile, which on a reasonable length trip is, I think, probably the highest miles per kilowatt hour that I've seen. So remember, the lower the number on watt hours per mile, the higher the number of miles you're getting per kilowatt hour, and it's pretty astonishing. Okay, it's not been the fastest run because of various different issues. In essence, motorways doing 55 to 60, and then some cross-country stuff where basically I'm just following traffic again, doing 40 to 50. But even so, that is still slightly mind-blowing. So I'm pretty entertained by that. I'm going to enjoy more of that as we go. As you can see, one of the problems with a medieval city like York, and we have got literal Roman walls over there. I mean, actual Roman walls. Part of the reason why traffic is so awful is, of course, trying to get around is practically impossible, which is why people like me really shouldn't be driving through the city. Sorry. It could be worse. I could be in a diesel spewing out fumes. I've now arrived at the hotel in Stockton-on-Tees, and I have just plugged into this air charger here, which is 25p a kilowatt hour, which is huge, 25p. But the astonishing bit, and again, apologies if the wind got that, is look at this. I have done 115 miles and only done 223 watt hours per mile. So, I mean, that's what, 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is absolutely stonking. Right, I need to get on and do some more work. And good morning on day 4 of this trip, and I am going home. Mr. Car here is on 95%, having done a nice gentle charge up overnight, which is good. But we are going to try and beat yesterday's, frankly, ludicrous efficiency numbers where I was getting 223 watt hours per mile, which is just astonishing. Obviously, I'm going across country on this one, so I'm probably going to burn more power, but there's only one way to find out, which is let's go and do it. So I'm here at Perth, having done a pretty mammoth leg directly up from Stockton-on-Tees, Jedburgh A68, but quite a way. Anyway, glad that I'm here. It's busy-ish, it's not too bad, and I'm getting 147 kilowatts at the moment. And a bit of fun. Can you actually see this on here? Yes. Stone chip goodness. So we're going to have to get that sorted. Truck went flying past me at one point on the Edinburgh City bypass, and it just went bing, and it was one of those ones where you actually flinch. Anyway, it has been quite a long trip, but it's been good. And again, I think it's just this point that at no point have I really been inconvenienced by having a Tesla, having to think about where I'm charging the thing up. It only got an overnight charge at the hotel once. The rest of the time I didn't even need to bother. On day 2, it literally didn't get charged at all, and it didn't need it. And I did seem to be doing quite a bit of running around. So even if you're a busy kind of person and you're going from here to here to here and here, it will be absolutely fine for you. And on that happy note, we're going to leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you know when the next one's dropping, and I'll see you back here very soon on Just Get a Tesla.